Well, good evening, it's Charlie ZL2CTM. Just thought I'd throw another video up, just sort of having a bit of an update and a bit of a think about what I might want to do moving forward. Just by way of a quick update, this radio over here, I'm still going to work on it slow time. The receiver is, I'm pretty happy with actually, I think that's working fine. I do have an issue on transmit, which is quite interesting. For example, if I was to, okay, at the moment I've disconnected the power amplifier and I'm just scoping the output of the first pre-driver, which you'll see up on the scope there. I've got an issue there that when I key, I get that coming through. Now that is the carrier. So if I now quickly change frequency, you can see it changing there. So that is at the carrier frequency. I've now disconnected the product modulator here. So this is now the input to the first IF amp on the transmit strip. If I key it, nothing coming through. If I now earth the input of that amplifier, you'll see I'm getting some noise coming through there. Well, in fact, not noise, carrier. I don't believe it's, well, I don't believe at all it's this thing going to self-oscillation because it's spot on exactly the frequency that the radio is tuned to. So something has changed. When I reconfigure this radio, I've done something somewhere in regards to potentially a ground loop or something. I've spent the last couple of evenings just sort of quietly going through checking for earth loops and trying to minimize those with having multiple paths going back. I've disconnected earths here, there and everywhere. I've used little 100 nanofarad capacitors to try and break up certain circuits, and nothing is fixing it. So that is going to be a little ongoing project moving forward to get that going, because it would be nice to get it up and running properly. It may end up, because one of the beauty of, for me personally, of making a radio like this is it's very easy just to undo the screws, the boards come off, and I start again. It's really here nor there, and it's unlike, say, in a proper case where it would be quite a bit of effort. To rebuild that is really not a problem at all. So I'll put some more thought into it, but something has changed. I've definitely done something somewhere. But hey, if this was easy, then it would be no fun. So a bit of a challenge. The other thing I did tonight is I just did a quick radio chat with some guys down in Canterbury. So in the South Island, just to double check that this 80 metre radio is still working fine. Got a good signal report back on that. It's only up to a max of 5 watts, and it's a little bit under that. So it's not a high power radio, but it's a QRP rig, portable, and just want to double check that was working fine. And like I say, really pleased with the quality of the audio and the signal report. So that's great. So that's something which we'll want to work on, and hopefully, well, in fact, the plan is to take this tramping with the next tramp, and we'll take that little portable antenna tuner that we made up a while back. That's all made up, ready to go. So if you recall, power comes in, we've got the antenna here and then the counterpoise, and then got an 80/40 selection there for the coil, and it just basically is tuned for a null on the power meter. So on, power meter is now in circuit, and then for normal operation it's off. So that's just a Wheatstone bridge. So anyway, so moving forward for the next project, had some lots of really good ideas from the last time we put up a call for ideas, so to speak, and I'm just half debating what I want to do next. And part of me wants to build using a little nano, a little small Arduino, I guess a baby brother or a little baby version of this. So this is just a little homebrew antenna tuner here, little 809850. You get to through the keypad into frequencies, or you can scan through ham bands, for example, and again a little Wheatstone bridge there. So it's measuring the level of power going out, the reflected power coming back, and then it's giving you either on the fly through a spot frequency, an SWR reading, or a plot of what the antenna is doing. In a portable environment, I think I'd use it on the spot frequency mode, so say 3.6, would use it in that mode there. So 2 to start, and then, now I apologise, the refresh rate doesn't match here, but there's a little needle there which is being refreshed a few times a second. At the moment it's showing an SWR of 10 because there's nothing connected in here. But I think if I was to build something portable, it would be like this. It would just be a pure needle which, based on the frequency that I wanted, I could then tune the antenna. We then started to think, well, why not use, for example, the spare channel, so to speak, or the spare output of the SI5351. So take, say, clock 1 there, which is unused, filter that to get a nice sine wave, and then use that to feed out, and then have the Arduino then measure it coming back in. And then you could just about potentially build another circuit here and use the same Arduino here in the same screen. That's, I think, would be an ultimate step down track, but I think for a starter it'd be sort of nice to build something, this sort of size, along those lines. That's what's sort of going through my mind, and it'd be sort of quite nice. So I might sort of put some thought into that one, if that would be an idea or not. Another idea that was put up, which has some appeal, I guess, would be an Arduino controlled servo, which then could power, for example, here a variable capacitor in some kind of transmatch arrangement, and then have the Arduino then measuring the SWR coming back, and then have that drive the tuner for a null. That's certainly of interest, and maybe use some kind of coupling arrangement here to couple the shaft of that capacitor through to a servo of some sort. I think it would be a reasonably large servo to have enough torque to move that. It's not too hard, but I don't think a small hobbyist one would do the trick. Might have to go through some kind of gearbox, I suspect, to get enough torque. But I don't have any geared, what they're called, servos in the house, but I'm sure I should be able to find a hobbyist in a hobby house and find something. So that's another idea. And then moving into things like low-level RF sources, or a nice high gain, low noise, or more the point, low noise, I should say, antenna amplifier for an RF front end on the radio. J-foot maybe with a common gate, something like that. So that's certainly of use there. So anyway, so I'm just sort of still toying with ideas and still playing around and trying to make things work. If miniaturizing this is of interest to people, then sing out. I'm sort of quite keen to do something like that. This certainly works well. I used this the other day up when we had a Summer of HF outing here, so I took that out, and that certainly worked fine and tuned up nicely. But like I say, that relies on either whistling or have some kind of power coming out to null. So it'd be nice to have a continuous wave coming out to get a nice continuous reading then to null, which then comes back to, well, should that be produced by, say, like I say, the spare output on the SI5351, or through a more enhanced version of this, and having within this box here, or a slightly larger box, the 809850 and a small little Arduino driving that. So like I say, would make it slightly larger, but that's not a huge issue for me. It's more weight is the problem. I've got plenty of room in the pack. And the power brick I've got, if I was to reach over and grab it, has two outputs there. So it's got the 12 volt output, which runs the radio, and then I've got a spare 5 volt output, which would be then quite easy then just to plug a separate cable in there to run the tuner for tuning things up, and then take it out of the circuit for operation. But that's what's sort of going through my mind. The other thing too I'm going to put onto this big radio here, to keep things simple, I'm going to put a this is a 4x16, so at the moment the current display is a 2x16, but I had a couple of these lying around, so I might solder that on. It's got the little IC2 pack on the back. which converts it to I2C, which is nice and easy to use. I always then have two variables, so the two VFOs I should say, and then you can have memory and other bits of data being displayed, a little bit more real estate. So anyway, that's what I'm sort of thinking at the moment. There was lots of other ideas in regards to FT8 transceivers. There's a couple of excuse me, ideas for that one. A CW keyer, and I was thinking with the CW keyer, it might be nice to use something like this again and have it as a keyer as well as a decoder, and actually decode the CW so it's coming back in and having it displayed on something like that. That wouldn't be too bad. It's been done before, so nothing startling there, but that might be something of interest. And what else? I think, yeah, the big long list there. Oh, the other thing too, I was thinking, yeah, so in terms of a higher power amplifier, for example, you know, we've been playing around with 15 odd watts, you know, 10 to 15. For a lot higher than that, then I'm going to need some specialist transistors, so I'm not entirely sure what would be the best option for that. Now, I've been talking a few times about trying to use commonly available parts in the radios, and I think that's laudable, well, as far as I'm concerned, up to a point, but I can't see a commonly available part, an inexpensive commonly available part, being able to be put into a transmitter, power amplifier that is, and crank it up to sort of 50 odd watts, 50 to 100. I might be wrong there. You know, to be fair, it's an area which I haven't really looked into, but I suspect I have to dosh out or deal out a reasonable amount of money to get a BJT to do that. There was a suggestion a while back, you know, had I tried using power combiners, so build some, pick a number, 15 watt transmitters and then power combine them to get 30 odd. That's something I haven't looked at. I don't really know if it's a good idea or not. It's just an area that I haven't looked at. So anyway, just a short video just to say that I'm sort of still playing around and still thinking. And like I say, if that idea to shrink that down is of interest, then please sing out. Or if it's just purely a Arduino based power meter and SWR meter, so just the display, just the Arduino, and a power / SWR pickup, and that being displayed somehow, then I'm more than happy just to do that. I'm just trying to think of something which would be of use for me moving forward, either with out there tramping and hiking, or whatever. So anyway, just a short vid, and we'll keep thinking, and we'll keep playing around, and we'll see if we can get that transmitter going. But I suspect it's going to be a bit of a rebuild, which is fine. I've got no problems there. Okay, cheers all.